We have Hayes. We have E.L. Hayes. No, this is Ella M., wife of E.L. Hayes, January 15th, 1860 to October 28th, 1884. Only 24 years when she passed.
How do you feel?
I feel fine. I feel very privileged to be able to be here and visit. George McMillan, born August 9th, 1805, died November 9th, 1887.
I can hear you.
We have a marker here. This is R.H. McMillan. This would be Sergeant, Company D, 1st Georgia Cavalry, Confederate States Army, April 12th, 1829 to July 13th, 1907. Thank you much for your service, sir. We have the oars here. That'd be Alexander Lynn, March 5th, 1832 to June 8th, 1910. And then Margaret, August 10th, 1840 to April 27th, 1921. Some of these must be replacements because they are in very good shape to be as old as they are, considering. And this is Alexander Lynn Orr, Private Company D, Georgia Volunteer Cavalry, Confederate States Army, March 5th, 1832 to June 8th, 1910. And this is D.W. Orr, Private Company D, 1st Georgia Volunteer Cavalry, Confederate States Army, July 1st, 1829 to January 29th, 1907. Thank you much for your service, sir. We have Cleveland S. Kirk, Major, U.S. Army, World War II, Korea, October 25th, 1920 to September 27th, 1997. Thank you much for your service, sir. More Kirks. And all these little plaques here are all unknown. And there are quite a few, especially here in this older section here. Either their stones were never put down, they were just markers, they deteriorated, maybe they were wood markers. We have the Adaires here.
Bad.
We have John Collins, Captain, South Carolina Militia, Continental Line, Revolutionary War, December 9th, 1760 to March 8th, 1852. Thank you very much for your service and sacrifice, sir.
John Collins, born on December 9, 1760, in Frederick County, Maryland, served in the South Carolina Militia during the American Revolution. His military service began in May 1776, participating in skirmishes and re-enlisting for multiple tours. He fought in key battles, including the Battle of Briar Creek and Kings Mountain, and later joined the North Carolina Militia. Collins was captured at the fall of Charleston, but was paroled, only to be captured again by the Tories in Lincoln County. He escaped and rejoined the militia, participating in several significant battles, including Cowpens, Guilford Courthouse, and Jamestown. Collins also served as an adjutant lieutenant in Virginia and a captain in the South Carolina Militia, taking part in the battles of Orangeburg, Four Holes Bridge, and Bacon's Bridge. After the war, he married Phoebe Sailors on November 30th, 1786. John Collins passed away on March 8, 1852.
Now we're back with the lemons here. Here we have William Clay Curtis, Private U.S. Army, World War I, 1895 to 1984. Thank you much for your service, sir. Again, all those small markers you see, stones, those are all unknowns. So here we have, in memory of Sergeant William Horace Orr, Company A, 325th Infantry, 82nd Division, son of A.E. and Delilah Orr, born October 17th, 1893, killed in the Battle of the Argonne Forest, Aragon Forest, October 14th, 1918. Thank you much, sir, for your ultimate service and sacrifice. Now, Jackson's here. More oars. Here's Delilah. And A. Emmett was the sergeant's parents, it looks as. Delilah, July 28th, 1870 to September 22nd, 1948. And A. Emmett, or September 27th, 1867 to June 8th, 1934. And the Adams.
$29.
29. We have the Wills here. We have Wiley P. Wills, December 8th, 1832 to October 1st, 1912. And Elizabeth Ann Wills, wife of W.P. Wills, born October 1st, 1841, died January 17th, 1922. This is Wiley's. So Private Company K, 60th Georgia Volunteer Infantry, Confederate States Army. Thank you much for your service, sir.
Suffocate.
And here we have John Milton McLean, 3rd Sergeant, Company A, 18th Georgia Infantry, Confederate States Army, 1839 to 1916. James McLean, August 9th, 1843 to January 17th, 1931. And this is James Nelson, Corporal, U.S. Army, June 26, 1911 to January 19th, 1991. Thank you much for your service, sir. And I almost missed this one. And with the color, the patina on this, so it's J. Robert Bernhard, U.S. Air Force, Vietnam, April 9th, 1948 to July 3rd, 2004. Thank you much for your service, sir. James L. Smith, Private, U.S. Marine Corps, September 30th, 1882 to September 25th, 1958. Thank you much for your service, sir.
How?
Yep. More a line of unknowns there. These are the Stricklands. These are all children, it looks as though, except for Nancy, October 24th, 1830 to May 9th, 1910. E. Strickland, August 13th, 1849 to August 12th, 1864. The Giles. I'm here. There's 29 again. Is that where you want me to visit? Is 29? We have William C. Aiken, U.S. Navy, World War II, May 31st, 1905 to May 22nd, 1980. Thank you much for your service, sir. I tell you what, let me look through first, and then I will find 29, which I will assume is row 29. This is in memory of Leela, the dearly beloved wife of John E. Dixon, and their daughter of William J. and J.A. Palmer, deceased, born near Acworth, May 13th, 1863, died in Braswell, Georgia, September 4th, 1897. Well, thank you. I don't try to be funny. Sometimes it just happens that way. Another VA marker here. This is Daniel S. Gray, Private Company D, 1st Georgia Volunteer Cavalry, September 26, 1835 to March 20th, 1873. Thank you much for your service, sir.
Sister.
We have this here. See if we can't go back this way. And then we'll come back up the other side there.
Flashlight.
I need the flashlight. You might be right. I did not grab it out of the truck. So I may need to get it. You're hiding. This is Della, wife of G.R. Jacob Jablonski. So Della, wife of G.B. Jablonski, born October 9th, 1876, June 3rd, 1911. There's a newer burial over there, and I'm not going to disturb. This is Douglas Lee Sanders, PFC U.S. Marine Corps, World War II, 1926, 1973. Thank you much for your service, sir. We have more Smiths here. I think we have a VA marker down here. Let me take a look. More Andersons. Pops and Nanny. That is not a VA marker. Oh, there's one here. Yes. We have Andrew H. Anderson, Tech 3, U.S. Army, World War II, September 15th, 1926 to September 20th, 1978. Thank you much for your service, sir. We have
I'm close.
Cheatham, Richard A. Cheatham, August 17th, 1869 to December 6th, 1937.
Richard Alfred Cheatham was one of 8 children born to George B. and Nancy J. Adams. He was the grandson of Civil War Confederate General John B. Cheatham. John was the original owner of the property known as Cheatham Hill, now part of the Kennesaw Mountain Battlefield National Park and historic site. Richard, or Mr. Dick as he was known, was a native of Cobb County and lived in Acworth, Georgia. Here he met and married his wife, Lula A. Ragsdale, and they raised their 8 children. Dick and his wife were supporters of the Mars Hill Presbyterian Church. Many years before his death, Dick suffered a fall from a tree that left him disabled. Though outwardly this apparently did not affect his genial, happy disposition, he was known as extremely honest and possessed an upright character. Sadly, on December 6, 1937, Dick Cheatham was found deceased of an apparent self-inflicted shotgun wound. He was just 68 years old.
Lula, September 17th, 1869 to May 10th, 1947. And Ethel, December 2nd, 1903 to March 18th, 1948. Okay. We have David Lee Williams, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Air Force, Korea, May 30th, 1928 to September 3rd, 2006. Thank you very much for your service, sir. When you say you're close, can you give me your name? Can you give me your first name? More oars, some McLeans. So definitely the
I
oar.
said no.
Definitely the Orrs were a prominent family here. This is Ogle. We have Don E. Ogle, Staff Sergeant, U.S. Air Force, February 18th, 1929 to February 3rd, 2020. Thank you much for your service, sir. We have McCleskey. We have Thaddeus L. McCleskey, Georgia Sergeant, 139th Aero Squad, World War I, June 6, 1890 to November 26, 1954. Thank you much for your service, sir. Waltmans and Goodwins, some Arnolds. Guy Edward Cantrell, A1C U.S. Air Force, July 22nd, 1933 to February 10th, 2016. Thank you much for your service, sir. Here we have memory of Ray G. Swanson, Private, U.S. Army, World War II. That'd be July 25th, 1916 to October 24th, 1944.
Private Ray G. Swanson served in World War II in the Pacific Theater and was captured by the Japanese near the Philippine city of Manila. He was transferred to a Japanese POW ship, the Arasan Maru. On October 24th, the Arasan Maru departed Manila, joining a convoy of other Japanese ships composed of 13 merchant vessels, 3 destroyers, as escorts, and 1 fleet supply ship. The Arasan Maru was one of the slowest ships in the convoy. On October 23rd, the destroyers began picking up signals from American submarines. The convoy was ordered to break up, and the Arasan Maru continued on its own. On October 24, 1944, the POW ship was steaming in the Bashi Channel between the Philippines and Taiwan with 1,781 POWs who were mostly Americans. It was mistakenly identified as a Japanese cargo or troop transport, being it as unmarked, and was hit by a torpedo from the submarine, USS Shark, at about 5 p.m. She finally sank around 7:40 p.m. In response to the torpedo, the destroyers Takai and Harukaze attacked and sank the Shark. The 2 destroyers returned to the Arasan Maru to look for survivors. Miraculously, no POWs were killed by the Shark's torpedo strikes, and nearly all were able to leave the ship's holds. However, the Japanese did not rescue any of the POWs that day, only Japanese. The Arasan Maru tragedy resulted to the greatest loss of American life in maritime history. Out of the 1,781 POWs on board, Ray Swanson being one, only 9 prisoners survived the event. Ray's remains were never recovered.
Thank you very much for your service and sacrifice, sir. 1944, I'm not going to assume, but it's probably a good guess that you died during the war, either from wounds or from sickness. I hope you're resting in peace and tranquility. You deserve the rest, Private.
You don't understand.
This is for Tech Sergeant James L. Evans. That would be 1915 to 1944, World War II, France. So died in France, so this would be, he more than likely is not here. You have George Thomas Evans, U.S. Army, 1909 to 1981. Thank you very much, both of you, for your services and sacrifice. The Davenport, this is Woodman of the World. So this is in memory of Ernest Willie Davenport, March 10th, 1893 to October 15th, 1918. And he was with the 325th Company A, 82nd Division Infantry,
Close it.
who made the supreme sacrifice in the defense of his country on the battlefields of France. Thank you very much for your service and sacrifice, sir. We have Dr. J.E. Pritchard, May 4th, 1855 to December 13th, 1906.
Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you other than through the device that you're using. So in that case, yes, I do hear you. William C. Aiken, U.S. Navy, World War II, May 31st, 1905 to May 22nd, 1980. Thank you very much for your service, sir. This is William S. Adair, born March 18th, 1819, and died September 23rd, 1898. I'm pretty sure there might be some relations to the namesake of Adairsville. I'll have to find that out. These are Ragsdales and McEvers. We have Reese here. Until we meet again, John Edward Reese, son of Aaron Warren and Millie Galt Reese, November 4th, 1878 to December 4th, 1957, with his wife, Florence Hull Reese, daughter of John C. and Frances Bradford Hull, September 6, 1877 to March 17, 1910. And this is Manning A. Day, Company C, 23rd Georgia Infantry, CSA. Thank you much for your service, sir. Here we have Grady E. Sanders, Georgia Private Company K, 23rd Infantry, World War II, Philippines, April 16th, 1923 to September 13th, 1969. Thank you much for your service, sir. So that would have made him 37 when he died? No. 47. 47. Still quite young. Now that I'm past 47, there is a VA marker here. We have Paul Dewey Cothran, Private U.S. Army, World War II, January 23rd, 1919 to August 4th, 1971. Thank you much for your service, sir. Have a V marker here. Robert Lee Bruce, Georgia, Sergeant, 289th Engineer Combat Battalion, World War II. And so his dates are better. December 6, 1916 to August 21st, 1971. Thank you much for your service, sir. Again, I'm here at 29. If the spirit that wanted me to come this way would like to tell me your name, that would be great.
I want to.
William Joseph. Is this? What's the last name here? Adair. So William Joseph Adair, S1 U.S. Navy World War I. June 9th, 1917 to March 5th, 1983. Thank you much for your service, sir. More Adams here.
Henry.
Hi, Henry. This is John C. Adams, U.S. Army, World War I, April 12th, 1895 to March 17th, 1980. Thank you much for your service, sir. We have Harley Morris, Sergeant, U.S. Marine Corps, World War II, June 23rd, 1921 to March 17th, 2000. and 3. Thank you very much for your service, sir. Robert Larry Butler, Specialist 5, U.S. Army, Vietnam, December 21st, 1945 to May 15th, 2000. Thank you much for your service, sir. And this is Chapman's. Thomas J. Chapman, Tech 4, U.S. Army, World War II, May 20th, 1911 to April 14th, 1981. Thank you much for your service, sir.
Grave.
Here we have Bryce Van Arnold, PFC, U.S. Army, World War II, May 30th, 1914 to June 21st, 1975. Thank you much for your service, sir. There's 2 more here. Let's see. We got George Frederick Nix, U.S. Air Force, August 15th, 1921 to March 19th, 1981. Thank you much for your service, sir. And Nina Marinelle Nix, beloved wife, April 15th, 1932 to April 21st, 2021.
How many?
More Nix here. Carl Crafton Nix Sr., ACC U.S. Navy, World War II, March 14th, 1927 to September 11th, 1978. Thank you much for your service, sir. And Miss Betty King Nix, November 19th, 1928 to April 16th, 1997.
This is my place.
You have James D. Woodruff, Corporal, U.S. Army, World War II, and he was born July 13th, 1920, died January 13th, 1986. Thank you much for your service, sir. I'm thinking that this is going to wrap us up for today at this location. And when I hear first names, I usually look to see if there's anyone listed on Find a Grave or if there's a separate directory for the graves here to see, if I'm close to those people or what have you. But I don't know how close I am to a Henry, since that's the only name I've gotten today.
You were funny.
Mars Hill Cemetery, 1837. Well, thank you again for joining me here at Mars Hill Cemetery in Acworth, Georgia. Like I said, it wasn't a huge cemetery by any means, but it's quite nice. It's well upkept, at least in the front part. It's kind of sad that the graves back there in the woods that you first saw when I first got here are derelict in the way they are. You would think whoever's responsible for the cemetery would actually take better care of it. Even if that particular piece of land is not part of the cemetery's land, it just seems like the right thing to do. So thank you very much again for joining me. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on our next walk. Have a blessed one. Thank you for watching Cemetery Walks with Milvet. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit that like and notification button, and we'll see you back here on our next walk.